Hey everyone, it's Regent again. So I actually forgot that the anniversary units are gonna rerun Christmas Day. So that's very interesting. So I'm back with another video, and guess I'll start by saying if you enjoy my videos, please like and subscribe. I'm gonna start with Blue and Zapdos because in my opinion they are the biggest pull. So let me start by saying that this trio is definitely worth pulling, but I will say that I believe that Red is the least worth pulling, and I feel like he has aged the worst. Not by a significant amount, but at 1 out of 5 maybe by a significant amount, but we'll get into that later. In general, I do think they are worth pulling for sure, even though anniversary, like the half anniversary is coming soon. The anniversary for Pokemon is coming soon. Oh, even with that information, I still think that Blue and Leaf at the very least are worth pulling for. And Blue is basically just like Steven, like anniversary Steven that we just got recently. I guess you could make the argument that he's slightly worse than Steven and Metagross, but I really don't think that's the case, especially because Blue right off the bat can maximize speed, so for so many units, maybe not so many, but for a lot of units, that alone makes him the better pick to bring to the team as opposed to Metagross, but it's situational. In general, I do think that Steven is better, quote unquote, because there is a little more to his kit. But the point is that he's so close to Steven, and Steven is so amazing as it is that he is worth getting for sure. Yeah, so just looking at his moves, speed buffs, and the fact that he can fully buff special attack and crit, that makes, like, especially the older units, like anyone that basically attacks with special attack, who is a very dated unit. Man, sorry guys, I'm a little shaky right now. My throat is like super dry, so just bear with me, but basically, I don't have to be the most articulate person to tell you guys that this man is worth pulling for, easily. Like, regardless of anything that may be coming, I mean, I don't think we're gonna find another special attacking support that's gonna be coming out soon that does what Blue does and then some. Like, it's good. It's good all around. At 1 out of 5, he's good. At 3 out of 5, he adds a little bit more support and like utility with debuffing and stuff. It's not much, but I think the best part of 3 out of 5ing him is definitely him getting more power. It's not a lot of power, but there are definitely battles where he can be the quote-unquote main damage dealer, or at least be supplying a decent amount of damage with brain power and Furious Brain. You don't have to 3 out of 5 him at all. But if you did, you would probably do it more so for the damage. Maybe for, yeah, no, the Satisfied Snicker and Satisfied Snorl, I believe, somewhere around here. Or, yeah, over 1-9, my bad. Both of these are also worth it for the additional bulk, not just for him, but for the entire team. It's good, but I will say that I don't think he needs it. I feel like there are probably other supports that would really need 3 out of 5 more, like other Pokefairs and maybe even other Master Fairs. Like, I don't want to say Beat, because Beat is also really good at 1 out of 5, but I just feel like Blue, as himself, is great at 1 out of 5, and he really doesn't need more. And if you give him the EX Roll Strike, even at 1 out of 5, that can definitely still be relevant for Battle Rally, because there are plenty of stages that have Strike plus something else that isn't support, where bringing Blue along would be extremely useful. So like Strike Tech. Let's say the final battle 10 is Strike Tech, and you don't have a good support to take that final battle. That's exactly where you would bring Blue, because he has you gave him the EX Strike roll, so that can allow him to become a good take. So yeah, no, there's not much to say about Blue. I think you should get him. Of course, as they always say, there is no unit that is a must pull. But I think Blue and Zapdos comes pretty damn close. There is not much else I can say. If you can get him, of course it's not the end of the world. Of course you can still clear content. He just makes it so much easier for so many units. So if you can get him, get him. Oh, and yeah, I'll just leave it at that. So let's move on now to Leaf. Leaf and Moltres, I'll move on to them second because I also believe that she is very, very worth pulling for. Not on as high of a level as Blue and Zapdos, but definitely close enough that she provides so much utility that if you get her, you wouldn't regret getting her. Like, there's no way you would, because there's just no other unit that I know of that just can provide AoE debuffing so quickly on attack, special attack, both defenses, with just one move, well, to everyone. We haven't really seen that combined with everything else that Leaf has, including bringing Sun, having a pretty decent DPS option, potions, a great sync nuke, instant attack, special attack, and crit buffs to herself. I'm not gonna lie, I actually looked at her passes again right before I started the video, and I completely forgot that she had Team Solar immunity. Like, I completely forgot that was even a part of her kit. I don't even think I ever fully comprehended that part of her kit, to be honest. And I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty crazy. Like, the fact that all you have to do is have Sun out. And you just have to have Sun out, and boom, you just don't have to worry about status conditions, flinching, confuse, or trap for everyone. It's pretty crazy. I mean, it's a passive that Lear just recently got for his anniversary unit. And it's great on him too. So the fact that Leaf has it too from like a year ago is great. Now, 1 out of 5 or 3 out of 5. Obviously, we'll be skipping 2 out of 5. Doesn't really seem like there is stuff. But if you have 2 out of 5, you might as well go for 3 out of 5 too. So 1 out of 5, why do you get 1 out of 5 Leaf? Well, you get her for, at 1 out of 5, she's still great for fire stages, easily, like still, for sure. Not as much damage on the DPS or sync nuke, but can definitely get the job done. At 3 out of 5, okay, so here's the thing with 3 out of 5. She doesn't debuff faster, but it's not like you need the debuffs to come faster. They already come fast enough. You use Lear a few times, her buddy move basically doubles the amount of debuffs that the enemy already has, so usually I do like 2 or 3 Lears, and then I use her buddy move against the middle enemy. Or whatever enemy you need it on the most. 3 out of 5, you basically just get the biggest ones, in my opinion, are Power Play, Drought Alert 3, just for ease of use with the sunny days, and then also Solar Sync if you need it to get that 1 extra sunny day. These 3 things make her a lot nicer, I will say. And then if you can afford it, or if you want to move things around, also Insult to Injury is nice, but her sync nuke is so clean and so easy to activate that I don't really think you need the Insult to Injury if you're like the nuke itself, like just nuking the left first and then the middle, and then following up with DPS on the right. In like a standard champion stadium battle, that's more than enough to get the job done. So, yeah guys, I mean, this is another clear-cut one, I think. Again, a little less than a must-pull than Blue. I do think that if you had to pick one, definitely get Blue. You don't need Leaf, but man, she's nice. Like, I don't know how many times just having the AoE Lear helps just in so many battles. That alone makes her worth pulling at 1 out of 5. There's not much else to say about it, really. And then another nice thing that she does get at 3 out of 5 is 2 sunny days, because she gets the first sunny day, I believe, on her buddy move. The first time she uses it, you get Sun. And then if you get Solar Sync at 3 out of 5, she applies Sun again on her first sync. So, and then you get Gyro Alert 3, and it's much easier to make sure that you have sun out by the time she sinks. So I do think Thratify was nice, but I would say for now you're probably more focused on just getting the unit. And if you like the AoE debuffs, it helps activate a lot of multipliers for a lot of characters. Don't forget though that she doesn't debuff speed. I did make that mistake in the beginning when I had her. I assumed that she could debuff speed, and I remember I had a battle where I was like, why is this not working? Is I was trying to activate Cakewalk or something on another unit. And yeah, she doesn't debuff speed. Kind of sucks, but it's not too big of a deal. There's plenty of other... It makes the other speed debuffers relevant, so... Okay, so this is the last one. Red and Articuno. So I saved this one for last because I personally feel like this is the one unit that you can skip and really not notice a crazy difference. If and only if you are missing... No. If and only if you have a good ice type already. What ice types are good, quote-unquote, to make it so that if you don't get red, it's not the end of the world? Well, let's see. I would say that units that are good enough to, quote-unquote, replace red would be like Candace at 3 out of 5. Maybe. Yeah, I would say so. If you have Candace at 3 out of 5, Haymaker, Soften Up, the insane buddy move that she has, Furious Brain on the buddy move, yeah. 3 out of 5 Candace with the Tech EX rule. If you have her, I wouldn't say Silver because Silver just is missing the AoE. So there are going to be times where you'll feel it when you don't have that AoE damage. He's still great, but I would say we're looking at like other units that can just do nice AoE damage to easily clear most of the stages that require you to fight 3 enemies, right? So again, I would say if you have Candace, Irida 2, and the new girl Cinna and Glaceon as well. If you have those 3 units at 3 out of 5, or in her case 5 out of 5, you really don't need red, but I will also say that the thing with red is he fits super easily, and he just powers up every ice type immediately, both special and physical. So yes, if you do have 3 out of 5 Irida, 3 out of 5 Candace, Cinna, you don't need red, but if you had both together, it just completely trivializes ice content. And you could, like any content, I think, especially at 3 out of 5. The issue that I have with this red is that he's missing certain aspects that other attackers have. He basically, in my opinion, I think he lacks utility. And this is just my opinion. I could be overlooking this. His damage is there, but the thing is, the damage is there for a lot of other high-stakes attackers. Okay, let's look at this. So he has this at his 3 out of 5 grid. First, sync move, Hail. Causes a hailstorm the first time the user's sync move is used each battle. Now, an attacker that can summon weather is awesome. It's amazing. Like, if you can find an attacker that can summon weather and hits hard, I believe that is an immediate, high consideration to pull for that character. Even someone like Nimona, the fact that Nimona, even though I think she kind of lacks damage compared to other Master Fair units, the fact that she can summon Sun at least twice makes her worth it. Silver and Tyranitar, another great example of a unit that can summon weather, makes him immediately worth it just because there's a bunch of hard battle rally stages and even like Champion Stadium, not Champion Stadium, battle rally stages that require weather, ultimate battles that require weather, and then summoning weather while dealing damage is extremely good roll compression. But the thing with this red is he only does it once, and you have to wait until after he uses his sync move. So in a lot of battles, the weather that the enemy wants is summoned immediately. So that is kind of like one issue. No consistent weather. You can obviously combine it with someone else. So like you bring Morty and Morty can immediately bring sun. Let's say you're fighting someone that has Sandstorm, right? Morty brings sun the first time, and then Red can bring that second dose of weather, and then Morty can bring like the third sun, right? So it's not that it's bad, but I do feel like he also doesn't have any like debuffing, like he doesn't debuff special defense or anything else like that. It's just like straight damage, and that doesn't not make him worth pulling. It's just that it makes him a high level damage dealer. And at the end of the day, we get one of those like every 3 to 5 months. Every 3 to 5 months, there's another crazy attacker like Cynthia, the anniversary Cynthia with Garchomp, who at 1 out of 5 is already fantastic, you know? So I hope people don't take this out of context and think that I don't think Red is worth pulling for. I have Red and he is great. But it's 3 Master Fairs. Most people are still recovering from the anniversary that we had in like August, and we're going to get another anniversary in February. So if you have to be picky, you just have to be picky, you know. And if there's one unit that you couldn't get, I would have to say Red. But if you're missing an ice type, then of course you won't regret getting him. I mean, let's talk about the good, right? I mean, instant freeze, yes, that doesn't work in every stage, but it still works in a good amount of stages. In Champion Stadium, it just makes it so that as long as you're hitting the enemy that's going to attack next, you really don't have anything to worry about. You got the AoE ice type rebuffs on enemies that just again instantly powers up any attacker. He works great with Irida, great with Cinna, even great with physical ice type attackers. Great damage. Instant crit is one of my favorites, basically soften up on normal moves and sync moves, which makes for really consistent, strong damage throughout the battle. Yeah, I'm conflicted here because he is great. But it's like, if you can't afford to get all of them, I don't think it's the end of the world if you don't get Red. As long as you can secure a good ice type, I think you'll be okay. But if you do get him, and if you 3 out of 5 him, I mean, that's one more consistent, strong damage dealer. If I had to quickly look at the sync Red, I know he has a lot of good stuff. Like, he has Furious Brain here at 2 out of 5, which is really nice. You could even just 2 out of 5 them, just to give him a slight DPS increase. Then you get Brain Power right here, obviously. Powers up the user's sync move and the target's type rebuff is lowered. Powers up the user's moves and sync moves during a Hellstorm, in which case you'd want to bring some sort of Hell unit. And I mean, it's ice, so there's plenty of units that can do that, including Irida. Again, you can bring this if you need more weather for some reason. But this alone, it's a lot of damage, but just keep in mind that his special attack is 376, so it's balanced somewhere. Like, yes, it's a lot of multipliers, but the special attack is pretty low, so I would say it probably balances out with like the other higher up damage dealers. Like, I'm not a calculations expert, so don't quote me, but I don't think he significantly outperforms other high-tier damage dealers that you might see in other tier lists that people make. Yeah, that's basically all I have to say about Red. It's hard. It really just depends on the other ice-type units you have and how many gems you have, how excited you are for the anniversary that's coming up, how much you like Red. This one is the most dependent, I think, on other variables, so yeah, guys, this was kind of a rough one for me to do. My throat is like killing me. I don't know why. I don't think I'm getting sick. I think I work in like a cold environment, so that's probably what's going on right now. I apologize if this video hasn't really been my best in terms of commentating, but I'm also going to add another section where what am I going to call it? I guess I'll call it If I Were Being Picky. This is the If I Were Being Picky segment, where if I was a very picky player and I had to try to convince myself of reasons not to pull, because what if you are trying not to pull, right? Or what if you are trying to pull and you realize that the reasons that I'm about to give you are silly and stupid, and it's like, these are real reasons to not pull in a character, then that could convince you to pull. Or it could convince you not to pull, or to realize that maybe you're not missing out on a crazy amount of stuff, right? So if I were being picky, let's start with blue. Blue is the hardest because blue is hard to be picky with. If I were to be picky with this unit, I don't like the fact that he doesn't buff physical attack, which again, isn't really fair because I mean, that's why you have Steven, and if you don't have Steven, there's plenty of other great physical attacking supports. It's like the one thing he can't do. But it's a valid complaint because there's a lot of offensive units that need that physical attack buffs, right? If I were being picky again, I would say that at the beginning of every battle, he is a gauge holder, and it's really annoying. Because you, more often than not, are going to want to use his buddy move. Or not his buddy move, his trainer move, which consumes 3 gauges. Then you're either going to use XP or you're going to use Discharge, which again requires you to spend gauge. So that is something to consider. He can be, quote-unquote, and ironically, a slow starter because he holds gauges at the very beginning of the stage. You have to decide whether you're going to start spamming Discharge or XP or even maybe save his trainer move until later, until you can afford to spend gauges a little bit more. Another thing that I would complain about with him is that, sorry guys, my throat is on fire right now. His Pride of Palette passive is kind of slow at the defenses, and it's even slower when you realize that a lot of times you're going to have to use his trainer move first, then 2 XP dolls before you can finally start getting defense buffs. And there's some stages where they just come out swinging, man. Like, you kind of need those debuffs immediately. Like, that'll occasionally be a problem, but it's not consistent. But it is, I think, a valid argument, because I've definitely faced that issue with blue before, or I've had the issue where I just need the debuffs. I mean, I need the buffs immediately, and I have to just start using Discharge to get my buffs in, but then I can't immediately buff my teammates or give speed buffs to my teammates. So it's a valid argument. I think the last thing, if I was being picky, is that I feel like some parts of his grade are kind of dated. The first one that I think of is like Team Sync Think 9. After using your sync move and only the first time, it increases the special move's next effect by 1 rake. Obviously, that's kind of aged poorly with like Iono out now and other supports that just like buff, give you special moves of next effect once like every turn or every other turn. So this kind of aged poorly. I think that the debuffs on defense and special defense only by 2 is kind of, it's not that it's bad, but it could have been more. I wish that it was every sync cycle that he syncs. I feel like that would be interesting because it's slow. It's still slow regardless. But the fact that it can only activate once per battle is kind of like, not that it sucks, it's just that by today's standards, I feel like if this came out, like if he came out for the anniversary this year instead of Steven, this would have been either by more than 2 stat rents or it would have been every other sync. Again, guys, don't forget, this is me being picky. This is me trying to give maybe that one person that absolutely cannot afford to pull a reason not to pull. Another reason that I would say is that we do have a lot of great special attacking supports that can still fit the bill and basically do what he can do. And the only thing that he really does better than the most other special attacking supports is that he can also buff defense, which a lot of special attacking supports can do, and he can fully buff speed, which most supports cannot do. Like fully buffing speed, not a lot of units can do that without relying on MP refresh. But I'm going against the grain here on my own segments. Ignore what I just said. Okay. No more stone throat, don't worry. If I were being picky about Leaf, I would say that leaf lacks AoE. Balancing the sunny days, if you're trying to get 2 sunny days, can be tricky. Because if you're trying, let's say you're doing an ultimate battle. Let's say you're doing like, oh, I can never think of a unit of a battle. I think, what's her name? The old lady with Skarmory. I believe she summons, like, rain or something, right? Let's say she summons rain. I'm pretty sure she does. And if she doesn't, let's just assume that she does. And you're trying to get rid of it. And she brings rain at the beginning of the battle, and let's say when she's like at 60% HP or 50% HP. That's kind of hard to juggle because that means that, because Sunny Day activates at 3 out of 5, once at first sync, and 2 at her first buddy move. That would mean that if you really wanted to extend your sunny days and use them sparingly, you would have to not use her buddy move until you're ready for it, basically, or not use her sync move until you're ready for it. So you have to choose which one you want to use first, and then prolong using the second option until you're ready, which can feel kind of awkward, but it's doable. I mean, all that means is you just use Leer until you're ready to sync, or until you're ready to use the buddy move. I'm explaining this really poorly, I think, but anyone who has 3 out of 5 Leaf and has used her in this way will probably understand what I mean. Just imagine doing like an ultimate battle, and you're trying to really spare the amount of times, or really conserve the amount of times that you're summoning weather. So that's one complaint. Another complaint that I would have to try to find is that she doesn't debuff speed, which can screw over a lot of units that need cakewalk, but I don't even think that's like a valid complaint. This is just me trying to find something. I'm going to spare Red because I feel like I accidentally kind of went over that earlier when I actually went over him as to why you shouldn't pull. He's just like, the most recent high damage attacker who may or may not already be power crapped. I wouldn't be able to tell you. I don't think he is, but he is just like an attacker. So that is the major complaint that I'd say about Red. Alright guys, if you made it to the end of the video, I thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it, even though my throat kind of screwed this video over and I was very choppy in the beginning. Yeah, I hope you like and subscribe. I'm not like closely looking at the numbers, but I am trying to see if people are enjoying my content, and I hope over time that people will. I hope people get valuable information out of these videos, and yeah, good luck with polling if you guys poll. In summary, blue is a quote-unquote must pull. Leaf is a great pull, and red is a we won't regret pulling him, but you won't regret skipping him either, in my opinion. Unless you're really down bad for ice starts. But yeah, thanks everyone. Hope you guys have a good holiday break. Later.